the invisible threat.
Our planet, a breathtaking tapestry of life, is facing an unprecedented crisis of plastic pollution. From the deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountain peaks, plastic has infiltrated every corner of our world. We are living in the age of plastic, a material that has revolutionized our lives, but at a devastating cost. The sheer scale of plastic production and consumption has created a monster that is slowly choking our planet. The statistics are alarming. Every year, millions of tons of plastic enter our oceans, rivers, and landfills. This plastic does not simply disappear, it fragments into smaller and smaller pieces, eventually becoming microplastics, tiny particles that pose a significant threat to the environment and human health. These microplastics are now ubiquitous, found in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. The consequences of this plastic plague are far-reaching. Marine animals become entangled in plastic debris, mistaking it for food. Seabirds, turtles, and whales ingest plastic, their stomachs filled with indigestible material leading to starvation and death. The delicate balance of our ecosystems is disrupted, with potentially catastrophic consequences for the future of life on Earth. We are all connected to this crisis. The plastic we discard carelessly does not vanish, it simply transforms, becoming a pervasive and insidious threat to the very fabric of our planet. It is a problem that demands our urgent attention and action. Microplastics, tiny fragments of plastic less than 5 millimeters in diameter, represent a particularly insidious form of plastic pollution. These minuscule particles are often invisible to the naked eye, lurking in the environment and our bodies, posing a hidden threat to ecosystems and human health. Their size and pervasiveness make them a formidable challenge as they can travel vast distances, infiltrating even the most remote corners of our planet. Scientists categorize microplastics into two main types, primary and secondary. Primary microplastics are tiny particles designed for specific applications, such as microbeads found in cosmetics and personal care products. These microbeads, often too small to be filtered by wastewater treatment plants, flow directly into our waterways, eventually reaching the ocean and becoming a persistent pollutant. Secondary microplastics originate from the breakdown of larger plastic debris such as water bottles, plastic bags, and fishing nets. Exposure to sunlight, wind, and waves degrades these larger items into smaller and smaller fragments, ultimately resulting in microplastics. This fragmentation process is a continuous cycle, ensuring a constant supply of microplastics into the environment. The insidious nature of microplastics lies in their size and persistence. These tiny particles can persist in the environment for hundreds or even thousands of years, accumulating in the food chain and posing a long-term threat to ecosystems and human health. Their small size allows them to be ingested by a wide range of organisms, from microscopic plankton to large marine mammals, with potentially devastating consequences. The sources of microplastics are surprisingly diverse, reflecting the pervasiveness of plastic in our modern world. Understanding these sources is crucial for developing effective strategies to mitigate their impact on the environment and human health. From the products we use daily to the very clothes we wear, microplastics are entering the environment in countless ways. One major source of primary microplastics is microbeads, tiny plastic spheres added to personal care products like exfoliating scrubs, toothpaste, and shower gels. These microbeads, designed to enhance the texture and cleaning properties of these products, are too small to be effectively removed by wastewater treatment plants and end up polluting our waterways. Another significant source of primary microplastics is industrial processes. Plastic pellets, known as nurdles, serve as raw material for manufacturing various plastic products. Accidental spills during transportation and production release tons of these pellets into the environment, where they persist and contribute to the growing problem of microplastic pollution. Secondary microplastics, generated from the breakdown of larger plastic items, represent a continuous cycle of plastic fragmentation. Weathering, abrasion, and UV radiation break down plastic waste into smaller and smaller pieces, eventually resulting in microplastics. This process is exacerbated by improper waste management practices, particularly in countries with inadequate or non-existent waste collection and recycling systems. Furthermore, synthetic textiles, a ubiquitous part of our modern wardrobes, are a significant contributor to microplastic pollution. Every time we wash synthetic clothing, such as fleece jackets and nylon sportswear, tiny microfibers shed from the fabric and enter the wastewater stream. These microfibers, often too small to be effectively captured by wastewater treatment plants, end up in rivers, lakes and oceans, contributing to the growing problem of microplastic pollution in aquatic ecosystems. The pervasive presence of microplastics in aquatic environments is a growing concern, posing a significant threat to marine life and the delicate balance of these ecosystems. These tiny plastic particles, often too small to be seen with the naked eye, have infiltrated every corner of our oceans, from the surface waters to the deepest ocean trenches. Rivers, acting as conduits, carry microplastics from inland sources to the ocean, accumulating in vast quantities in gyres, large systems of rotating ocean currents. These gyres, often referred to as garbage patches, are not islands of trash as commonly depicted, but rather vast areas with high concentrations of plastic debris, including microplastic. Marine organisms from microscopic plankton to large whales ingest microplastics, mistaking them for food. Filter feeders such as oysters, mussels and clams are particularly vulnerable as they filter large volumes of water, ingesting microplastics along with their food. These microplastics can accumulate in the digestive tracts of marine animals, leading to starvation, internal injuries and even death. The insidious nature of microplastics lies in their ability to bioaccumulate in the food chain. Smaller organisms ingest microplastics, which are then consumed by larger predators, resulting in a concentration of these plastic particles at higher trophic levels. This biomagnification process means that top predators such as sharks, tuna, and even humans may consume significant quantities of microplastics through their diet. Microplastics pose a multifaceted threat to marine life, impacting organisms at all levels of the food web. Their small size, persistence, and ability to absorb and transport pollutants make them a particularly insidious form of pollution, with potentially devastating consequences for the health and survival of marine ecosystems. One significant impact of microplastics is their potential to cause physical harm to marine animals. These tiny plastic particles can block digestive tracts, leading to starvation, internal injuries, and even death. Sea turtles, for example, often mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, a common prey item, resulting in ingestion and potentially fatal blockages in their digestive system. Microplastics can also have a range of sublethal effects on marine organisms, impacting their growth, reproduction, and immune systems. Studies have shown that exposure to microplastics can interfere with feeding behavior, reduce growth rates, and impair reproductive success in various marine species. These sublethal effects, while not immediately fatal, can have long-term consequences for the health and survival of populations. Furthermore, microplastics act as vectors for other pollutants, absorbing and transporting harmful chemicals from the surrounding environment. These pollutants, including pesticides, heavy metals, and persistent organic pollutants, POPs, can bioaccumulate in the food chain, posing a significant threat to the health of marine organisms and potentially even human consumers. The pervasiveness of microplastics in the environment has raised growing concerns about their potential impacts on human health. These tiny plastic particles have been found in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat, raising questions about their potential to accumulate in our bodies and impact our health. While research on the specific health effects of microplastics on humans is still ongoing, there is growing evidence to suggest that these particles could pose a risk to our well-being. Microplastics have been detected in human stool samples, indicating that we are ingesting these particles and that they are passing through our digestive system. One concern is that microplastics may act as carriers for other harmful substances, such as pathogens and chemical pollutants. These pollutants, adsorbed onto the surface of microplastics, could potentially be transported into our bodies, where they may accumulate and cause harm. Furthermore, there is concern that microplastics, particularly the smaller nanoparticles, may be able to cross biological barriers and enter our bloodstream and organs. The potential long-term effects of microplastic accumulation in human tissues and organs are still largely unknown and require further investigation. While the issue of microplastic pollution may seem overwhelming, there are concrete steps that individuals can take to reduce their contribution to this growing problem. By making conscious choices and adopting simple habits, we can all play a role in protecting our oceans and our health. One of the most effective ways to reduce microplastic pollution is to minimize the use of single-use plastics. These disposable items, such as plastic bags, water bottles, and food packaging, are major contributors to plastic waste, which ultimately breaks down into microplastics. By opting for reusable alternatives, such as cloth bags, reusable water bottles, and durable food containers, we can significantly reduce our plastic footprint. Another important step is to choose natural fibers over synthetic ones whenever possible. Synthetic textiles such as fleece, nylon, and polyester are major sources of microplastic fibers, which are released during washing and end up in our waterways. By opting for clothing made from natural fibers like cotton, linen, and wool, we can reduce the amount of microplastic fibers entering the environment. Furthermore, supporting companies and organizations that are actively working to reduce plastic pollution is crucial. Choosing products with minimal packaging, supporting brands that use recycled plastic, and advocating for stricter regulations on plastic production and disposal are all effective ways to make a difference. Creating a future free from the threat of microplastics requires a multifaceted approach, encompassing individual actions, technological innovations, and policy changes. By embracing sustainable practices, supporting innovative solutions, and advocating for systemic change, we can collectively pave the way for a cleaner, healthier planet. One promising avenue for reducing microplastic pollution is the development and adoption of innovative materials. Biodegradable plastics, derived from renewable resources such as cornstarch or sugarcane, offer a promising alternative to conventional plastics. These materials break down naturally in the environment, reducing the accumulation of persistent plastic waste. Another area of innovation is in textile production. Researchers are exploring new methods for manufacturing textiles that minimize microfiber shedding. These innovations include using tighter weaves, incorporating different fiber blends, and developing new finishing treatments that reduce fiber release during washing. Education and awareness raising are crucial for empowering individuals to make informed choices and demand change. By understanding the sources and impacts of microplastic pollution, individuals can make conscious decisions to reduce their plastic footprint and advocate for policies that promote sustainability. Beyond individual action, policy and innovation for change, addressing the complex challenge of microplastic pollution requires a multi-pronged approach that goes beyond individual actions. Governments, industries and research institutions must work in tandem to develop and implement effective solutions that address the problem at its source. One crucial step is to implement stricter regulations on plastic production, use and disposal. Governments can play a vital role in reducing plastic waste by banning single-use plastics, encouraging the use of recycled materials, and promoting extended producer responsibility programs that hold manufacturers accountable for the entire life cycle of their products. Investing in research and development is essential for finding innovative solutions to microplastic pollution. This includes developing new materials that are biodegradable or easily recyclable, improving wastewater treatment technologies to capture microplastics more effectively, and exploring methods for cleaning up existing plastic pollution in the environment. Collaboration and knowledge sharing are crucial for accelerating progress. International cooperation involving governments, scientists, and industry leaders is essential for sharing best practices, coordinating research efforts, and developing globally applicable solutions to this global challenge. The power of collective action, a call for global cooperation. The fight against microplastic pollution is not a battle that can be won in isolation. It requires a collective effort, a global movement of individuals, communities, and nations united by a shared commitment to protect our planet. By working together, sharing knowledge, and demanding change, we can create a future free from the scourge of plastic pollution. International cooperation is paramount. Plastic pollution knows no boundaries. It is a global problem that demands global solutions. Countries must work together to establish international agreements and standards for plastic production, management, and disposal, ensuring that all nations are held accountable for their contribution to this global crisis. Raising awareness and promoting education are crucial for empowering individuals to become agents of change. By understanding the scale of the problem, the sources of microplastic pollution, and the potential impacts on human and environmental health, individuals can make informed choices and demand action from their leaders. Supporting organizations and initiatives dedicated to tackling plastic pollution is another powerful way to make a difference. Numerous non-profit organizations are working tirelessly to clean up plastic waste, advocate for policy changes, and raise awareness about this critical issue. A future free from plastic? The path forward. Envisioning a future free from the threat of plastic pollution requires a fundamental shift in our relationship with this ubiquitous material. It demands a move away from a linear economy of take, make, dispose towards a circular economy that prioritizes reducing, reusing, and recycling plastic waste. Innovation will play a crucial role in this transition, from developing new materials that are biodegradable or easily recyclable to creating innovative technologies for capturing and removing microplastics from the environment. We must harness the power of human ingenuity to find solutions to this complex challenge. Education and awareness raising are essential for driving behavioral change. By fostering a deep understanding of the environmental and health impacts of plastic pollution, we can empower individuals to make responsible choices, reduce their plastic footprint, and advocate for systemic change. Ultimately, creating a future free from plastic pollution is not merely a technological or economic challenge, it is a moral imperative. It is about recognizing our interconnectedness with the natural world and understanding that the choices we make today will determine the health and well-being of generations to come. Our legacy, our responsibility, a plea for our planet. We stand at a crossroads facing an unprecedented environmental crisis of our own making. The plastic pollution that plagues our planet is a stark reminder of the unintended consequences of human progress and a call to action for us all. The legacy we leave behind, the state of the planet we bequeath to future generations, will be determined by the choices we make today. We have the power to turn the tide. By embracing a more sustainable path, we can break free from the grip of plastic pollution and create a brighter future for all. It will require a collective effort, a global movement of individuals, communities, and nations united by a shared commitment to protect our planet. Let us choose to be the generation that turned the tide against plastic pollution, the generation that restored balance to our oceans, and the generation that secured a healthy and thriving planet for generations to come. The time for action is now. Our planet, our future, depends on it.